Good evening, everyone. I usually try to do at least one video a week. Um, it is so beautiful out today. Uh, Considering everything that's going on in life right now, it is so beautiful outside today. Um, and this daggone sweater for work is hot. But anyways, I'm gonna get to the point, man. I hope y'all are doing well. Um, I want to talk about emotional stability. So I was sitting here riding, and with my job, I have a lot of time to think. I have a lot of time to myself, which I actually adore and I'm very thankful for. I listen to music a lot. I love lyrics. And I get to thinking, and I'm a thinker anyway, so I get to thinking, and I was thinking about a lot of different things today, and I was thinking about emotional stability. So, um, being single and being in a relationship are two completely different things. Obviously, in a relationship, you're with someone, you're sharing your time, you're sharing your money, you're sharing your space, you're sharing your peace, uh, and all these different things that you're sharing. But I want to throw out to people that has been single for a while, or you were single for a while, now you're in a relationship, so on and so forth. Um, I know for me, I was single for 3.5 years before I decided to change that, or possibly change that, or so on and so forth. But being emotionally stable is very, very important. And a lot of people don't realize that until they get into a relationship, and then they think, sorry about that. How about we cut that off? All right. So emotional stability is very, very important. Having that stability in yourself, and having that peace that you have on a day-to-day basis is very, very important. A lot of people don't understand that having that will help you in your next relationship. Now, it can help and hinder uh, the growth of your relationship and how long it's going to take, and so on and so forth. And let me explain it to you. So being single for a long period of time, you get to the point of, you're used to being by yourself. You have peace. You have understanding. You don't have to worry about anybody else. You don't have to answer to anybody. You don't have to adjust. You're used to you. You're used to your space. You're used to having peace at certain times of the day. You're used to doing everything on your own time. But when you begin to get back into a relationship, you actually have to share your time. You have to share your peace. You have to share your money. You have to share yourself with somebody else, and it is very difficult. Especially if you're used to it just being one. You go out to restaurants by yourself. You're paying for just you. You go out to the movies by yourself, and all these different things. You get used to being with you. Now, when it comes to the emotional side of things, you don't have to deal with a lot of stress. You don't have to worry about what the other person is going through that day. I mean, of course, you want to pray for people on a day-to-day basis, but you don't have to worry about having to pray for anybody else besides, of course, obviously your family, your kids, if you have any, that type of thing. But then you have to adjust, and the person that you're with, that person have to adjust with you, and they also have to understand that you've been through some things, and of course, I'm pretty sure they've been through some things as well. So you have to correlate some things together. You have to work together. You have to understand that both of you have to adjust. One may have been single longer, and one may have been emotionally unstable when you got into the relationship with the person. So you get to the place, and I know for me, I'm speaking on my behalf, that I became very, not necessarily secluded, but I was so used to being by myself that I enjoyed it so much that adjusting to somebody coming into your space can be very difficult. And if you're not emotionally stable before that person comes along, and you try to adjust and adapt to them being around, it can be very difficult. But if you're emotionally stable, then it can be easier than someone that hasn't completely healed. It can be very difficult if someone hasn't taken the time out to get to know themselves, to get to know who they are and what they can deal with, what they can cope with, and all those different types of things. And you'll have two people that are getting together to learn one another, to learn each other's habits and learn all these different things. But it becomes very uncomfortable getting to know somebody else and letting them into your space. So if you weren't emotionally stable before they came in, then it's just going to send you into a bad spiral. The reason being is because you didn't take the time out to get to know you before you jumped into something else. So me, myself personally, I got to know myself very well in every level, to the point of where I didn't even care if there was anybody around. Now, of course, I'm human, so of course I want companionship and so on and so forth, and wouldn't mind being around somebody, going out on a date, just to hang out, just laughs and so on and so forth. But I got to a place where I didn't necessarily need or felt the need to be around anybody else. I was just enjoying me. And I didn't have to worry about any stress. I didn't have to worry about, did she make it home safe? Or just anything like that. It was just all about me and my kids. So a person that is not emotionally stable before they get into another relationship can hurt themselves and the person that they're dating. And then also, which is another subject I can get on, but somebody that has children, that's also difficult for them as well, because when you're getting into a relationship with someone or getting to learn someone, eventually, and these are for people that for whatever reason they think it's okay for their children to meet everybody that they date. That's not how it works. But when you do get to that point of that person meeting your children, you have to remember that it's not just you. It's you, that person, and your children, and possibly their children as well if they have any, that things are going to start changing. Everybody has to adapt. It's a lot of things that changes. It's a lot of things that you have to get used to. It's a lot of things that will feel uncomfortable during that process. But if you're not emotionally stable to where you can accept somebody else, and you still don't know who the heck you are before that person comes into your life, and you have to start adjusting, you didn't even adjust to who you are first. So you were already uncomfortable before you met the person. So now you're going to be even more uncomfortable because you allowed that person to come into your space that you weren't even used to having. And it's just going to be chaos because you don't know who you are yet. And then that person don't know who you are. So you can't let that person know who you are because you don't even know who you are. I'm going to say that again. For someone that don't even know who they are, they can't give themselves to somebody else because they don't know who they are, and they don't know how to give themselves to somebody if they don't even know what they're giving. And it's the same thing when somebody's coming into the picture. By you having to adapt to them, you're trying to figure them out and figure you out at the same time. You're overworking yourself, and when you overwork yourself, you get frustrated, you get irritated, you don't want to talk, or you shut down, or you're not in control of your emotions, so you start yelling at times you shouldn't, overreacting with things that don't even make any sense, and you're overreacting for no reason. So understand that it's very, very important for you to be emotionally stable before you get into a relationship, or before you even thinking about allowing somebody into your space. And for people that are emotionally stable and you do try to get into a relationship with someone, remember where you came from. Don't forget what has happened and learn from your mistakes. Don't allow those same mistakes that you made in your past relationships that you did learn from. Don't allow them to come up and catch you off guard, because you already been through that. And one last thing too, for people that are going into a relationship with someone that is emotionally stable, make sure you're stable, and then also give them that respect and that time and that space that person needs, because they've been single for a minute. They're not used to you being around. They're not used to you being there and them having to adapt and everything. So be patient with them, but also keep this in mind too. Once you get in, usually those type of people that are emotionally stable, once you get into their space and they allow you to get into that space and then they become comfortable with you, stay consistent in whatever you do. Because if you do not stay consistent, they will go back to being what they were before, what they were comfortable with, which is being by themselves. And you don't want them. It's very dangerous. And I'm not talking about just men. A female friend of mine, the exact same thing happened with her. Somebody got close to her. She allowed them into her space. She became comfortable. And then once that person stopped being consistent, once that person changed up the game, not necessarily the game, but it's just a figure of speech. But once that person started changing up, at that point, they were just like, well, I might as well go back to what I was used to before, because that person didn't give that consistency that they're used to. They're already consistent with having that peace. They're already consistent with what they were used to. So don't allow that person to go back into that place, because if they do, it's very, very possible that that person may not be able to come back. They may want to, they may think about it only because they care about you, but because they were comfortable before being without you, don't allow them to get comfortable back into that place again, because if they do, then you've lost that person. More than likely, you have lost that person simply because that person is not dealing with any more crap. Point blank, period. They've been through it. They've been there. They've seen it. And they're not going to go through it again. So if you want that person, you have to show that person consistently, without a shadow of a doubt. If you don't give them that time, if you don't give them that attention that they need, they will eventually walk away. Why? Because they've grown up in that area of their life and they're not willing to deal with it anymore. So that's all I have for y'all today. Video is about 2 minutes longer than what I usually do, but this is some really good nuggets I threw out there to y'all. And please like and share my videos. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna post it on my YouTube, my Facebook page, and I'm also going to create a Instagram as well. So y'all have a blessed day, and y'all take care. And again, please like and share my videos. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate the love.